Poe gets off the bus and does that thing with the wind racing through his hair.
That should not have worked, but it works. Because, I mean, it emphasises his, like, receding hairline, and, you know, they're not attempting to try and make out like he's like Chris Hemsworth, like Thor.
No, absolutely.
It emphasises the widow's peak. He really puts a lot of energy into that Alabama Southern drawl.
Oh, he certainly does.
Every time he talks, to me, it sounds like he should be in a, like, Civil War era period piece.
It is very, do declare.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Georgia, sir.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just golden syrup just dripping out of his mouth or something. Like, that's how it feels. What sort of missus is that? She doesn't even take an afternoon off work to pick him up from the airport?
I actually thought it would be so awesome if in this film you didn't see Casey until the end. This is Nick Cage's daughter, and then she would be black or Asian.
That would explain why she never visited him in prison.
We had to find a replacement, sorry. And then, as I said, the nasty redneck basically says that it's Poe's fault that they lost Vietnam.
Yeah.
I think he'd been about 10.
Yeah, sort of 25 years later to be still holding on to that.
Yeah.
Especially considering he'd just come back from a war that they did win and won quite convincingly.
Yeah. Because that is the other thing. He comes home from a tour of duty in the Gulf War and she's pregnant. How'd that happen?
It wasn't a very long war. I feel like he could have... It only lasted for like 100 days, didn't it?
He takes them all on. And then the worst part of the movie for me is Cage standing there with his face all bloodied and he just goes, Trisha!
But then we're straight to court.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Poe seems to have hired Lionel Hutz as his lawyer. The worst lawyer in the world.
How bad is this lawyer? He's managed to not only get a white guy in Alabama convicted, but then he says, then he says, oh, look, you just got to plead guilty because, you know, I just can't be fucked.
Yeah, I'm busy this afternoon. Yeah.
And then the most unintentionally hilarious letter writing montage.
Oh, my word. Dear Casey.
Dear Casey. There's like 3 or 4 Dear Caseys. Dear Casey.
It's 8 years and he's getting parole. He's got the bunny for Casey.
Like
Where did he get
It's a
it?
quirky prop. I don't know.
Has the prison got a gift shop? But yeah, so he's getting out, but he's hitching a lift on the jailbird.
Baby O, who's the only actor to be typecast as a guy from Alabama's unlucky African-American friend.
Yeah. But Baby O's going with him. We learn that Baby O is diabetic and he really needs his insulin.
Like really fucking diabetic.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he puts the die in diabetic. Like this guy needs insulin like every fucking 2 hours or he's dead.
He gets a bit sweaty otherwise, yeah. And this is where we get the goodies. So we're first introduced to US Marshal Vince Larkin, played by John Cusack.
Cole Meany.
Yeah. Cole Meany.
He had been in Die Hard too, so he had experience on planes. But
he is a meanie in this film too. He's not a nicey.
He's basically Jeremy Clarkson in this.
He is.
And John Cusack says, no guns on the plane. Strictly no guns on the plane. Except for the one that the captain's got. And that massive haul of rifles that are just under the seats. Other than that, no guns. And then we get that bit that we've all been waiting for. We've seen in the trailers that there's all these baddies. We get the slow-mo of cons walking on the plane, along with the John Cusack voiceover of who they are.
The roll call,
they've done. Which you need in a film like this.
Yeah. We've got Billy Bedlam. You got any intel on this guy, Jamie?
The only thing that just kind of came out at me about him was that, he looks like a 90s version of Bradley Cooper who hadn't had a shave. That's all I've got.
And next we have Nathan Jones, a.k.a. Diamond Dog, played by Ving Rhames. Clearly his parents were fans of David Bowie and Bananarama.
He's like the lieutenant of the big bad in this, right? Yeah.
Speaking of which, next we have John Malkovich, Cyrus the Virus Grissom. I love the rhyming name thing. I know I mentioned it before.
Yeah.
It's always nice. Clearly a nod to Hannibal the Cannibal, Dora the Explorer, James Blunt. Do you think he's a good baddie in this?
I do, actually. You know, obviously I had an issue with like the believability of John Malkovich. He's effectively playing bad John Malkovich.
Yeah. And we also meet Pinball.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle. And his crime is basically he's a bit of a racist. That's it, really, isn't it?
Wasn't he an arsonist?
Well, he certainly is in the film.
Yeah.
And the next villain that we meet as you previously mentioned, played by Danny Trejo, is Johnny 23.
Oh,
This is just grim.
this is horrible,
Yeah.
this bit.
So named because of the women he has assaulted.
He's a serial rapist.
Yeah. So the 23 relates to that. I'll never think of that little robot in Short Circuit in the same way again.
Johnny 5. Oh, well,
And then before we know it, we're on to the escape part of the film.
yeah.
And then after just a couple of quick scuffles, they've got the plane. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a 90s action thriller if someone didn't announce, which Cyrus does, welcome to the title of the film.
Yeah.
When he puts the gun to the head of the captain and says, "Oh, the next wings you see will be the flies buzzing over your rotting corpse."
Yeah.
And I'm like, how's he going to see the flies if he's dead? But anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'd say if I was captain. I'll be dead, won't I?
Yeah, fooled you, yeah.
But is that the bit where the captain actually looks square into the camera and goes, crazy? He just totally breaks the fourth wall. He's in a different movie too.
He's in a Mel Brooks film. Yeah.
It's good to be the king.
Cameron's looking a bit fed up at
Yeah.
this because he just wants to go home and see his hummingbird. They land in Carson City for a sort of an exchange. 6 off, 10 on. But 3 of them are dead. So they need some volunteers.
They're actually pretty nice and reasonable to each other. Like, these horrible hardened prims, like, you know, when they're volunteering to go off, and he's like, okay, great, yeah, you guys go into the back there, you just wait there. And he's like, I've changed my mind, I want to stay. Okay.
Yeah.
They're nice guys.
So, getting on the plane, we have Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he's a pilot.
He's great, too.
Yeah, he's good.
Some of his lines is real naturalistic. Like when Chappelle's saying things to somebody, he's like, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we also have Cindino, who, as we said, is that drug dealer, who seems to be kind of bankrolling the whole thing, or he's arranging for Cyrus to get away on a plane at the next landing.
Basically, helping him escape is the reason for taking over the plane.
Absolutely. We also get Sally Can't Dance.
Yeah.
And horrific gay stereotype. But of course, the final person on the plane is Garland Green, the Marietta Mangler, played by Steve Buscemi. And he is just lectured up, basically. Yeah. He's all in his face mask and he's all tied up, so he's a very dangerous individual.
How do you wear someone's head as a hat? I don't get it.
You need a chin strap.
You just balance it on your head? What?
So the plane makes a dash for it. Dave Chappelle kind of runs to try and catch the plane and falls. And again, this is what we said, that something is actually slowing the plane down because the landing gear, it won't go up. So Cameron and Dog go to check it out. Diamond Dog.
Mr. Dog.
Mr. Dog, go to check it out. And it's been blocked by Pinball's body. Dave Chappelle, he's just dead in the hold.
Yeah.
So they chuck him out. But not before Nicolas Cage gets to write a message on his T-shirt.
Yeah.
Saying where the plane is going to land and addresses it to John Cusack.
Probably the most ridiculous thing for me.
Oh, come on.
Is they talk about how the prisoners have taken over the flight. What's a contingency plan? And Cusack says, contingency plans for something like this don't exist. Situation like this has never been contemplated. It's like...
What, a prison riot?
It's like, what?
There was one in the opening credits.
The worst and most lethal thing that could happen on this flight, you've never thought about. You're like, no.
So Vince gets the note. He knows they're heading to Lerner Airfield. But of course Malloy says that's bullshit and he just wants to shoot the plane down. So of course Vince finds a fast car.
Steals Malloy's car.
Steals Malloy's car to get there.
Now, if you're going to pick out things in this movie, but it's like, where have they flown to that he can drive to in like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, well, have they just flown a big bloody loop or something? Anyway.
They've flown in concentric circles, yeah.
And of course then we get one of the more famous lines in the film because Billy Bedlam finds Poe's stuff and realises that he's out on parole as a lifer. So of course Poe tells Bedlam to...
Put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And then quite a good fight.
See, I actually thought this was a lame fight.
Oh, it's like the low cargo roof and things like that.
It's a crouching fight.
It's a crouching fight. I like the crouching fight.
Crouching tiger.
Hidden bunny.
And then a pipe
just appears.
Just goes like, psh, and then like next minute, Billy Bedlam's impaled on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So they're at the airfield. Vince, of course, gets there first because he's in a supercar. And then Steve Buscemi goes for a walk. And in this empty swimming pool, there's this child thing in the pool. And it is much more frightening than anything that Garland Green would have ever done. It's a child thing.
A little girl.
Well, she's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's not human. She is much more frightening than anything else in this film. She is when she laughs. It's really frightening.
I'm 100% with you on this. This is to
disturbing.
the point where I think that he never actually got off the plane, and this is some disturbing dream he's having in his head.
Maybe.
You know, added to the list of stuff that doesn't make sense because what the hell is she doing there? Where the hell is everyone else who lives there? Where are her parents? Like,
She's killed
all
him.
this stuff. But now I'm like, the only way that you can actually make it make sense is if he's just imagining all of it.
This girl is much more unhinged than him, and it kind of cures him.
Scared him straight.
Yeah, it scared him straight. Yeah. So they finally managed to dig the plane out of the sand while being whipped by Diamond.
Yeah.
It'd have been much faster if he'd have done the digging as well. If he'd have helped.
It was very Ten Commandments, that scene. I was like, I couldn't believe we actually have a scene of slaves hauling something out of the sand while getting whipped.
So they're off. The plane's in the air, and as the plane takes off, we get the world's most obvious bit of signposting for "You're in the South with rednecks."
Yeah.
I did actually quite like Sally Can't Dance's dance. Which I will say one thing about her, though, just in the preceding scene, that Cyrus, again, shows just how liberal he is by completely trusting a transgender woman, you know, just handing her an assault rifle and saying, like, yeah, okay, you go over there. Like, he had no qualms at all about treating her like that, which, again, sort of muddies the kind of politics of the whole movie just a little bit.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
He does.
Yeah. He's an equal opportunities employer, as we said.
Yeah.
He wants everyone to fulfill their potential.
It's not a virtue signal for him either. He just wants his job done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
He trusts her to do it.
Good on him.
Also, none of the other criminals seem to have an issue with it either. It's a very liberal-minded bunch of guys.
Yeah, they all kind of go woo when she starts dancing, but that's about it.
They've all been quite lonely.
Yeah. So Diamond Dog finds Poe's letters and knows that there's a parolee on here. It's not a lifer, but they don't know who it is. But they're certain whoever that is, that's the traitor. So to find out who it is, they threaten to kill Bishop. So Baby O, being the honourable diabetic, says it's him.
Yeah.
So Cyrus shoots him.
Baby O's been whining about his insulin this whole time, and then he just takes a bullet like that.
Yeah. And all this time, Malloy wants to blow the plane out of the sky, but Vince manages to convince him that Poe's in control.
Yeah.
He's got charge of the plane.
They're pursuing it in attack helicopters.
Absolutely, yeah. But they're running out of fuel, and they're approaching Vegas. So Swamp Thing decides they're not going to reach the landing strip. He's going to land on Sunset Strip instead.
On the Las Vegas Strip. Yeah.
So Malloy was right. That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah, Malloy was right. Absolutely.
If they'd done what Malloy said, then a lot of innocent people aren't going to get killed.
That's the moral.
Absolutely. It is. Malloy was right.
Malloy was right.
Absolutely. You
He
don't
was an
trust
absolute
Dictionary
prick, but he was
Boy.
right.
You trust As Kicker instead. And then a truck of money explodes for some reason.
Yeah.
And it showers money down on everybody. It rains cash.
Well, it's Vegas.
True. And that's where Poe tells Vince that there's now 3 men I trust.
Yeah.
Junkie doesn't really need to say, what do you mean me?
Yeah, I know.
I think we'd sort of worked that
That
one
was
out
bad
already.
writing, yeah.
He says it anyway.
Well, what would have been better is then if Cage went, no.
Baby O.
That guy that I was under the car with.
Yeah.
That old man. I was under the truck with, yeah.
I trust Malloy. He was going to shoot it down before anyone else got killed. Yeah.